know what's going on, everybody. It's your boy, Such a Wild, a.k.a. Coach Bird, and I'm the host of the BYRDCAGE Show. Cousin Tracy.
What's up?
Cousin Tracy is fresh off of the plane from Cancun. You know what I'm saying? This shows her dedication. She came straight here to do the show. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, so it gotta be what it is. It is what it is, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm dedicated to doing this. We have certain days we have to tape so we can get the production out by Monday.
So my young folk, consistency and dedication. You know what I'm saying?
That's key.
Consistency and dedication take you a long way in life. You know what I'm saying? Today, special guest in the cage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this guy go back a little bit from playing basketball and coaching together and everything else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so happy he took a little bit of time out his day.
Yeah, because
he's
very important.
You know, very,
Yes.
very important. You know what I'm saying? And let me get this out the way. You know, when this airs tomorrow, you know what I'm saying, Father's Day was Sunday, and I just want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. You know? Listen, this is my man Keith, my man Keith Benson, but I got to put some spec on his name, as Birdman says, Dr. Keith Benson is in the cage today, man. Appreciate you. Thank you
for having me.
Thank you. Real quick, just say what's up to the people, you know what I'm saying?
Hello, good people. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Episode 57.
57.
Episode 57. You know what I'm saying? I remember when we started this thing, and look at us. Episode
When you started
50. We had some Ray. We had
Cal.
Yeah. We got a doctor. I think it's our first
This is
doctor.
our first doctor.
This is our first doctor in the building.
It's our first doctor. Ding, ding, ding.
We doing some things, you know what I'm saying? So,
You're not our first celebrity, but you're our first doctor celebrity.
Right. Yeah, definitely our first doctor celebrity. I like that. So today, you know, when this airs, I just finished year 28, being an educator, you know what I'm saying? Cousin Tracy, you know, she's in the education field now, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, my guy here, Dr. Keith Benson, you know what I mean? He's in the education field as well, president of the CEA, and we'll get all into that. And so today, you know, we just want to talk a little about education. I mean, we talk about it all the time on the show. You know, education can open some doors for you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not, like we said all the time, cousin, like, college is not for everybody. But at the same time, if you go into a trade, if you do whatever you choose to do, you need some form of
Schooling
and education. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need some form of it.
And you got to put, college isn't for everybody, but there's a college out there for everybody.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's
and
very true.
I tell young people all the time, especially the ones that look like us, that it's a lot of things people can take away from you, but they can't take away their education. They can't take away what you learned, right? They can't take that away, what your knowledge, because that's yours. Like they can't
take it away.
You can take, and you can stop me from bouncing the basketball. You can stop me from playing football. You can even incarcerate me, but you can't take away my knowledge, like what I've learned.
Definitely. So today we just want to talk about education a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And before we get all into the questions and all that type of stuff, just, you know, the folks that don't know you, because I know, I was telling, it's funny, I was talking to Coach Tab earlier this morning, and he was asking me, like, yo, who you got on the show coming up? And I was like, you know Keith Benson? He's like, what? Do I know Keith Benson? We went to some Bible study classes together in Mercerville. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Coach Tab, you know what I'm saying? But so before we get into all of this, just let the folk know that don't know you a little bit about yourself real quick.
I'm Keith. I've been teaching for quite some time, only in the city. And I will say that that like sort of words matter and influence matters a lot. So at the time, I don't think you're really aware of it, and certainly back then, Coach Dunn from Pensacola wasn't aware of it. But I wasn't really in education at the time that we started coaching together. And I remember you and Coach Dunn we're talking about like this is a good profession to get into. And at the time, I only had a history degree and wasn't really doing much of anything toward education specifically, but actually just seeing y'all make teaching look cool and fly. Like I remember him and Coach Dunn both had expeditions. I never forgot that, right? And they was engaging with the team, like, you know what I mean? Like it was you, Coach Smith, Wes Hirschfield, and all this. Like, and education at that time, just seeing it right there, like it seemed like a cool thing to do, especially if you was young, a young black dude, you know what I mean? And then you could take something that you liked, like basketball, and you can get into that as well, you know. So that sort of influenced when my mind I wasn't getting into coaching, so I can get into education, but just being around that and just watching y'all operate and seeing like, yo, this could be a profession that that someone could get into.
Right.
That was flying, man. It had lasting repercussions. So I appreciate that for listening. You know what I mean? For that. And that's really what got me into it. Really got me into teaching because there wasn't that in my mind at all. I knew I just had a history degree and that was it. But actually just seeing you guys operate within education and then also, as coaches, that was really decent. That was really impactful. So
that's what's up. Now, what, let them know what high school you graduated from, all that type of stuff.
Morristown Friends, class of 98. The best person I ever played with was Brian Turner. That's my best friend. Class of 98.
I was going to bring up B. Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah, B. Turner. Yeah, to him too. Both of them. They got some skills on the basketball court. They can play. They could.
So,
what you got, cuz? What you about to say?
B. Turner may not remember, and I don't know if he's going to see this episode. At one point,
make sure he said.
At one point, he was like the city lawyer or something, and we had a basketball league. And as y'all well know, I was the only female that played in the basketball league, and he was young. Mm-hmm. And you got these guys come in, him and a couple other ones. They young, they got all this energy, and he's just he got some skills. But listen, I hang with the best of them, so
Yeah. The firefighters was good, man. Like I'll say, I'll get it up to the firefighters. Like they was
the
tough.
firefighters was good, but they were young too at the time.
Yeah.
And we would have the track events. They were young, but. Hey, listen, we all became cops and firefighters because our athletic careers, a lot of us ain't paying out. College sent us packing. So the police department and the fire department was hiring. So on Camden's fire department and Camden City Police Department, you had a whole bunch of D1, D2 athletes that didn't last in college.
Had to figure something out. So let's get right into it. How you feel about the state of education right now?
Where at?
Just urban. Let's talk urban.
Let's talk urban.
Yes, let's talk urban. How you feel about the state of the urban education?
I feel like there's a whole lot that's really, really good with it, but doesn't get nearly the amount of attention for deliberate reasons. Mm-hmm. And those who have tried to find ways to sort of just cripple what we think of urban education have been able to do so, to where that message it carries across, not only to suburban white folks, but a lot of black folks. We believe that our education spaces in the cities are terrible, when they're really, really not. Like, you really got some really, really dope educators inside our schools that don't get anywhere near the credit and the just due that they're deserved. And our kids is fly. Our kids are brilliant. And quiet as it's kept, a lot of our kids do go to college, man. And that narrative don't get out. You know what I mean? But that's a fact.
That's crazy that it doesn't.
Yeah, I actually posted today about giving kudos and accolades to the ones that don't get all the awards, the ones that sit in the back of the classroom, the one, but they're still succeeding. Like, they're graduating, they're going to college, they're going, but we don't talk about, we only talk about the people you see out front. But it's a bunch of other kids that sit in that classroom that are excelling.
That's a fact.
That's excelling, and we don't really uplift those.
Yeah, we got to.
We
got to. And giving kid amount of some encouragement, a pat on the back, let you know you believe in them, even when they're not necessarily doing their best. That goes a long way, and kids don't forget that, man.
No, they don't.
A lot of times we think if we're in education, the time you see them between the time high school, between 9th grade and 12th grade, like, that's it. But you'll run to them kids when they get adults, and they remember how you made them feel, man.
Do.
So so seeing these kids that now, I taught when I first started teaching, now they're in their 30s. And I'm playing ball with them. Yeah, they got families of themselves. Now they're introducing their family, their kids to me. When they see me, it's like, oh, we had a good relationship, and they remember that, and that really matters.
Like, that is, it's like you said, you never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might have a kid, and like, it's like, I don't know if I'm reaching out to this kid, but when you see them later on in life, they working, family,
he got it,
and it's like, Coach Bird, I always remember
that's a fact.
What you said, da-da-da-da. I'm like, I didn't even know he was listening. And you know what I'm saying? So,
and
that's one of the
it's crazy because being a police officer in the urban community and then sliding into the school, it's the same effect. Like, I have guys who are like in their 40s and was like, yo, I remember the day you gave me a pass. Like, you caught me dead the wrong, and you gave me a pass, and I went and got a job.
Yep.
Like this is one boy that tells Finasia's story all the time. I chased him when I was pregnant with my 28-year-old.
Yeah.
I was 6 months pregnant, and I hawked him. They stole a car. I hawked him and his friends down. He was a juvenile. We locked him up. Shortly after that, one of his homeboys that was in the vehicle, he got killed.
Damn.
Dude said, I went and got a job. He started working waste management. Now he's like some major supervisor through waste management.
Exactly.
He tells Finasia, he said, yo, your mom caught me while she was pregnant with you, but she gave me a chance. And keep, like, it's just like in school. Like, they remember, you remember that teacher that told you, you're going to be all right.
That's a fact.
Nah, that's true.
That's a fact.
That's true.
That's one thing I really like. Like, so for folks who don't know, I coached at Woodrow Wilson for about 6 years, and I was not a good coach. Right? I wasn't a good coach. I realized that there's a difference between like player development, like caring about the player as a person, player development, developing their skills, and also strategizing in the game, which I was horrible at. I didn't realize I was horrible at until after I stopped. But the players that I had, even though we wasn't very good, record-wise, they all knew I really, really cared about them. You know what I mean? So when I see some of my players that now we're at LA Fitness and we just playing together on the same team, like it's a beautiful thing to actually watch them grow up and seeing my former Tigers out there just playing, man. That's
and knowing that you had something to do.
Absolutely, man. That's a beautiful thing, man.
You know what I'm saying? Knowing that you had
But back to the misconception of the state of education in the urban community. Because it's so crazy because you went to Morristown Friends.
Yep.
I spent most of my academic career in parochial school. My senior year, I transferred to Camden High. And I used to always get the question, well, how's the education? What's the difference? Yeah. And I would tell them, if a kid wants to learn, they're going to learn.
That's a fact.
Because I got friends that went to Camden Catholic that wait tables right now, and that's 50-year-old adults. But I got friends that went to Camden High that are doctors and lawyers, and nurses and cops and firefighters. So it all depends on if the kid, whatever space you put the child in, if they're chasing knowledge, they're going to chase it.
That's a fact.
So people get very. I've always been told, for me, why did I leave my kids here? Mm-hmm. Why did I leave my kids in Camden? My kids all went through the Camden City School. But if my kids can make it here, they're going to make it anywhere. And I remember when medical arts was sending home copy packets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have books.
Yeah.
My daughter, she graduated 2006 from medical arts. And her freshman year, they was getting packets, copies, because they didn't have books.
Yep.
Like, man, if she get ace this kind of stuff,
Absolutely.
when she get a book, she's going to appreciate the book. And I just think the urban education.
It's different. The thing about it is, no matter where you go, whether you send your kid to Morristown Friends, which has a reputation, for wherever it is, or Camden Schools has a reputation for wherever it is, there's going to be pluses and minuses no matter where you send your kid. There is no place where this school's the good school and period, and that's it. Like, no you got to pick your battle as a parent, what it is you want to deal with. So I will tell you this. So going to school primarily in white environment, I carry something with me after, especially it would have been way worse if it wasn't me and Brian there. But the idea that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't smart enough, but I was always an outsider. There was always something sort of deficient in me. Because when you're a kid and you come in, you're trying to come of age, like it's hard to be one of the only ones, the only black kid in class, one of the only, you know what I mean? So that's something I carried. That's something that, carry with me, So as I came into adulthood, I was able to start realizing, like, yo, I'm, as smart as anybody, you know what I mean? So, but that's something I did not want my child to ever experience, you know what I mean? So now, granted, I live in Parkside, so my daughter went through our school system all the way through, so she never had to feel that thing. But whatever we had to deal with in terms of school, it was just going to be something a little different, you know what I mean? Right. But the idea that there's a perfect place, that don't exist.
You're right.
But I think education as we perceive it is not ideally perfectly matched for each kid. Mm-hmm. You have to twerk, like it has to be twerked, because everybody doesn't learn the same, right?
That's a fact. Sure.
So just because it says this is the curriculum, right? Yep. You can't always do it that way. Sometimes you got to do it a little this way and then bring it back over here, because there's no perfect.
Absolutely.
I think people forget that. Like they forget, like, this is what the curriculum looks like. This is what education looks like. But how I present it or get you to understand it.
Yep.
You have to.
And I, cousin, I agree 100%, especially because I'm in special ed. You know what I'm saying? I'm a special ed teacher.
Absolutely.
So you definitely gotta tweak it to. They like, all right, this is what we want, but gotta go to the left a little bit. I gotta go to the right.
As long as you get them back down to the bottom.
I gotta go down. Right.
That's why it's fly. It's important to have it, and not that we can control it, but having principals that actually understand what your job is and what you're trying to do matters a whole lot. I was blessed to have fly principals all throughout. Like the last principal I had was James Thompson. You know what I mean? So like he trusted me to do what I wanted with my class. Sometimes he'd come and just check out how things is going. You know what I mean? But like having a fly principal who recognizes and trusts you matters a whole lot because it gives you a whole lot of leeway.
I think at the school I'm at now, shout out to Miss Casella. I have Miss Casella at my school, and she's out of the box thinker. And she's just watching from year 1 to year 5. This is my 5th school year at Cooper's Point. And just how she interacts with the teachers and making the teachers feel confident in what they're doing, it helps change the whole culture of the learning environment at the school. You know what I mean? And I watched them from feeling like not supported to feeling like we're part of a team. And it just makes a difference.
That's a fact.
It makes a difference. And but I think that's with the kids too. Like if you show like we grew up in the LL era. Louis Jenkins, LL. We called him LL. So we grew up in that era, and no matter how much he yelled and screamed at you, you knew that he cared. You understand what I'm saying? So he made you feel like you're going to get it.
That matters.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to get this man has talked about, he's an icon. He's an urban legend in Camden. Like you ain't been through Camden school, and you don't know. In our era, you don't know. You had an encounter with LL. So when you have those type of administrators at a school, they make the teachers feel good. The teachers in turn make the kids feel good. So then in turn, education is happening. Learning's happening. Right?
And kids know. Like kids know when someone genuinely cares for them or not. Like they know. Like they have no filter because they know. Like Coach Bird genuinely cares. Coach Bird don't genuinely. You know what I'm saying? Like they know. They definitely know. So I forgot to mention in the introduction, he's also an author. He's also an author. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk a little bit about let's talk about the book. You know what I'm saying? Education Reform, Gentrification in the Age of Camden Rising. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about...
That's a big title. Let's unpack the title.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
All right, so altogether, the book sold about 6 copies. You know what I mean? But what it really was about, so this is what I did my dissertation on. So I recognized around like 2013 when I started going to school to get my doctorate, that there's a lot of changes being talked about and happening in Camden around the same time. And that was the same year they brought in the former superintendent. So I'm like, and Christie was the governor. So I'm like, why is all the stuff happening in Camden regarding schools, regarding housing, regarding the Sixers and all these corporations coming in there? Why is all the stuff happening at the exact same time? And then I realized, and you see these all across the city right now, that Camden Rising. And that was a hashtag. I was seeing them like on buses and things like this. So education, the way they're sort of tearing down our public school system, that attack is happening right now, and it has been, and it's been charted to take place starting back in 2011, is a part of the effort to sort of remake Camden, and not necessarily for the betterment of the people who live here. And that's my problem, and that's what I really wanted to look at. Is like, what is taking place where all these things are sort of being radically made. The dismantling of the police department, it was part of the thing. It was part of that as well. You know, so all these things are taking place so they could change the narrative around Camden to attract a resident who doesn't live here, and it's not the residents who are already here to begin with. So that's what I want to dig into. That's what the book is about, looking at specifically education and how they're attacking public education, our Camden City School District, in order to sort of prop up a vision of Camden that may or may not necessarily be accurate.
Right. And that's, that's evident. Like, it's so many charter schools and all that. And until you finally figured out, your junior year, when you came over to public school, you finally figured it out.
That was not by choice. That was by...
I'm a product of the public school system, and I think I'm doing pretty good.
You actually are. Just for the record, I come from a strong Catholicist family, and my father really cried when the Pope died. So we like Catholic was our thing. So that's why I went to, I was probably one of, and it was weird because you go to Catholic school and you say you're Catholic and you're black. They're like, what the hell? Weird. And you know, we went to a black Catholic church on Kane Avenue. It's an all black Catholic church, St. Bartholomew, you know, where the Boys and Girls Club was my elementary school. You know, my parents put windows in the church. You know, they were real Catholics. No. So that me going, I had no choice.
You don't see that every day.
Yeah,
you know.
well, once you become 15, 16, you understand why you don't see it every day.
Right.
You start visiting churches with your friends. Like, hey, I might want to check out a little something else. The religion I've been practicing may not be for me.
May not be the one. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. That's what's up. Now, let me ask you this because, and I'll say it. You know what I'm saying? Where I teach at. You know what I'm saying? It's black kids, Latino kids, you know what I'm saying? You still have, you know, some of the white kids and Asians and all that, but there's not many black teachers.
Yeah, that's a problem.
There's definitely not many Latino teachers.
Yep, that's a problem.
You know what I'm saying? There's not many black administrators.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
But what do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Because again, we did say you're union president.
Yeah.
Where do you see the breakdown in that happening?
Are we not qualified? Like, are we not qualified, or is it just a lack of us going into the field?
Yeah, so it's not. So one thing I think a lot of folks, one thing I didn't know is that unless you go specifically in a teacher track while you're in college, you can graduate, and that doesn't qualify you to be a teacher. And I think a lot of people don't know that. So you got to go. Well, I had to go alternate route because So so some folks may graduate maybe with the idea they can might want to be a teacher, whatever the case may be, by the time they graduate, and then realize that they can't. So you have to you got bills, you got loans, you got to pay back, and then they start to just try veer off and do something else. So I think that's a big part. But actually, I think also is that people, I had the benefit of seeing you,
I got you.
And when I saw you, I was 23, you know what I mean? So that's kind of older, but
again, we got guests making us
my bad.
I'm not gonna say
but seeing you at the age like education seemed cool to me. Like it wasn't like how I thought it would be. Like you made it look something different, you know what I mean? So I feel like if there's more sort of like a mentorship wave where people who aren't necessarily like
that's a good point.
Burgeoning or very approaching retirement, but actually sort of younger guys can get in or connect with people who might be sort of teetering on deciding it. I think you have a lot more.
But I think representation matters, right?
Of course.
And the reason why I say representation matters because in 92, 93, when we graduated from college, we still had older male teachers at Camden High.
Oh yeah.
So they would see guys like him, like, you don't know what you want to do with yourself. Camden is offering an alternative route. So a lot of my friends who are now all educators jumped on that because they really didn't know what they wanted to do, right? Somebody just put up a post on Instagram. Did you see that? 20 black men in one school? It was 20 black educators in this school. They just put on Instagrams, and these men came walking out in the hallway, and it was all 20. They got 20 black men that work in one school.
But one thing is important to listening because I want it needs to be mentioned is that there has been a concerted effort since No Child Left Behind to target specifically where black teachers work. Most of us work in the cities.
Right.
City schools, because of test scores, whatever the case would be, our schooles have been targeted and shut down and turned over to
the state.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, and what it did was you see it nationwide an evisceration of black educators, and you see a lot of younger white ones replace it by design.
Right.
So we're talking about so it's like a problem of black folks being targeted and being pushed out of profession. And we have to do another thing to where we start doing more recruiting. And I don't think necessarily that comes from a program, but just more just like talking to sort of younger folks like, yo, you might want to be in the teaching because teaching is a job that's fun as hell and it pays a pretty decent amount.
But that's how I was going to say representation matters. The reason why I say that is because as a young black boy, young black male, in the school I work at, he only gets to see 3 other black men in a full school. So education in a young black male's eye ain't cool. So they need the cool teachers to come and be like, yo, this is like, I've been doing this for 30 years. This is what, this is what my house is like. This is my car. Because being a teacher stopped looking cool.
Yeah.
Like my daughter says in reverse role, as a black girl, going to cream and seeing the teachers, the black women coming in there in heels and fashionable, wearing a uniform. My daughter always said, you know, I want to dress every day. Like I want to, you know what I mean? Because we made it look good. We made it look fun.
Yep.
But now the day of that is gone. And I also think, and this is my humble opinion, which I'm entitled to, that whole Teachers for America, teachers, all of that. A lot of young people are jumping, young people of Caucasian young people are jumping on that. Not because they want to be teachers, but they want to get their student loans paid. Because I ain't going to hold you. My daughter got picked up for Teachers of America in Miami.
Yeah.
And she qualified, got accepted. They told her she couldn't go her master's program for 3 years. She would have to teach for 3 years. Her student loans will all be paid off. My daughter was going to school for psychology. She teaching one thing, but she decided to go because another kid was going. She went through it.
Yep.
Then she thought about it. She said, if I'm going to end up in a classroom, why not be in a classroom in my neighborhood where they could see me from where I came from? I'm not going to teach in Miami when I can go give all of this energy back to Camden. Yeah. But she comes to Camden, what happens? The door's shut.
It's not an accident.
Yeah.
And also we're under state takeover, and so a lot of politics is meddling in our Camden City School District. That's just a fact. A lot of politics that's not necessarily connected to Camden government, but the county and those folks, some people's name that everybody heard of, meddling in our school system. And it has been for about, over a decade.
For a minute. It's not like when we were coming through, you know what I'm saying? Like the board, they lived in Camden.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like our principals and all that. They lived in Camden. They graduated from Camden High. Like they, you know what I'm saying?
You would see them at Pathmark.
Right. You would.
That stuff matters, man. I remember. So I live right down the street from.
You all good.
I live right down the street from a corner store, and I seen one of my students. I was teaching at Camden High, and he was buying a Black and Mild from the Whistling. And when he see me walk in, he put it behind his Whistling, and I was like, that's a sign of respect.
Right.
But man, do your thing, man. Like we're out here, do your thing. I ain't sweating. You know what I mean? But that type of thing, like that. So imagine just like district wide, you have these folks that are just walking it and doing their thing, and they see their students because if you're a teacher in the city, you never stop being that teacher role. Like your teacher role is that all the time. You know what I mean? So, and if you're handling yourself, you're conducting yourself the way you should be. The students should recognize you as a teacher all the time. You know what I mean? And that again, it has far-reaching effects on what your neighborhood looks like.
Yep. It was crazy because from Park and Baird, where Camden High is, to Baird and Kane.
Yep.
You had Mr. Starks, Mr. Demary.
Yep.
You had all the people. So it wasn't no fighting that took place between there. Now what happened on Haddon Avenue was something different. But right in that little, because they sat on their porches, and these were educated. These were educators. Mr. Demary ran Camden County College. He was the president of Camden County College. So like you wasn't. We ain't doing that.
That matters.
That wasn't happening. I remember, like you were saying earlier, like. I came out of Rutgers with a sociology degree.
Yep.
I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? My dad was cool, Dr. Dawson and all that. So it's like, all right, I'll teach. You know what I'm saying? But when I started teaching and just remembering the black teachers we had at the high, like this is
legacy is there, man. There's a picture of your pop at the
I do this.
Outside the gym, the picture of your pop out there. You saw it? I see that. Look at this.
So, all right, so they have this thing, and I don't know too much about it. Yeah. Over Christmas break, I seen this Camden U.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but I do know that it was promoting helping paras get on the track to become teachers.
Yeah.
So it was a young black guy that works at Cooper's Point. His first year he struggled. Second year, he a para for special in the inclusion class.
Gotcha.
First year kind of struggled. Second year got better. This is year 4 for him, and he's amazing. Nice. So I seen it, and I was like, yo, call these people. Yeah. Because you're wasting your time. You need to be the teacher instead of the helper. So I think he's going through or trying to get through. But like I try to send people in that direction because for me, and I will say this a million times over, for me, representation matters.
Of course.
I like for my kids and grandkids to see people that look like them,
Of course.
that are successful and educated and care,
Absolutely.
right? And I just think I'm a firm believer in, this looking like me. It resonates different,
Of course
when
it
it's
does.
coming from somebody that
It
looks
just
like
seems
me.
like, and this might not be I can't speak for every child, but it just makes you go harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if I know that I'm looking at somebody that looks like me and I know it's attainable,
Yeah.
it just makes me go a little extra harder.
And you and I did a thing before they shut down the old Camden High. Like they was having some gang issues, and we spoke to the kids. And
Oh, you
remember
that?
Yeah, remember I told them, because I just watched the video not so long ago. Remember I told them, this is what tangible success looks like. It looks like us.
Yeah.
Pensions. Like, I'll get a check until the Lord call me home. If I don't never work nowhere else, I get a check until the Lord calls me home.
Yeah.
Whatever they may be. You understand what I'm saying? And I own my home. I have a car.
Yeah.
I have a pool. I have
That's a win.
I have a cute dog.
It's tangible.
And I'm still like
win.
it's and I hang with Lando, who retires mailman, who has a pension, who has a
We
car.
gotta talk about, 'cause you name the jobs you're naming. We talk about firefighters, we talk about police officers, we talk about postal workers. We know some other people drive buses. Your public sector work for black folks has been a godsend, but not coincidentally, those are also areas that are under attack.
Yes.
I mean, but public sector work matters, man.
And you think about it, a lot of our grandparents and great grandparents, that's how they made money.
Yes.
Public service work,
Yes.
like they was, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But listen, but that's considered tangible success.
Yes.
I'm the obtainable success.
Man.
You can work, and people say I only did 20. I did 20.
Yep.
And I'm gonna get a check probably for the next 50.
That's a win.
Yeah, that's a win. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you do the math.
That's a win.
I think
That's a win.
So I tell people all the time. I was like, people say everybody wasn't put here to be Jay-Z.
No. Right.
Everybody ain't Beyonce.
No.
Somebody got to be on the ground level.
Facts.
And the ground level sometimes is real tangible.
Facts.
You stay in school, get a few
bad.
and guess what it's not bad at all. Guess what my son told my daughter? See them degrees up there? Yours say that, mine say mine. It don't say you got straight A's. It don't say I got C's and D's. It says a degree.
It says a degree.
So it's tangible.
Yep.
Completing is tangible.
Yep.
We had Vidra on episode 56, and she was talking about when she was with she did what was the Broadway show, Hairspray.
Hairspray.
And she was working with Circus du Soleil and all that. But she was like, it's 20 people performing, but like it's another 150 behind the scenes.
Getting paid.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't always have to be on that stage to be a success or to provide for your family, provide for yourself and things like that. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to put yourself in position to be able to take care
I'm gonna say this
of that opportunity.
because we're talking. Because I think I don't know how exciting folks are gonna find this conversation, but I think it's real, right?
This is beautiful.
When I found out I got hired, because I was a permanent sub for a while, but when I found out the board hired me with my grandma, she got the board minutes first, and the time me and my wife now, but my daughter's mom back then, she was living in Glassboro. When she told me I got hired back then was for $40,000. That was back in '04, and I cried, man. I cried when I was dropping them off home, and I was on the highway with them crying because I felt like I really made it, like, because that was the most money that I would have been making more money than I ever grew up with, So I felt like, you see people on draft night crying and listening. That's the way I felt. Like, we finally, all I gotta do, all I gotta do is do my job really, really well, and I'm gonna have a decent life thanks to this, to this teaching thing, man. And so anybody say like, teaching ain't nothing because you don't pay you enough, that's a lie. You can make a decent living in this profession of education.
Listen, I know a lot of teachers that live in really nice houses. Check out the BYRDCAGE.
I've been doing it for 20 years for a reason.
Yeah, and he always got nice cars.
Yeah, always had.
Now,
he
don't travel enough for me, but
well, that's just because of coaching and all that. But we're gonna take care of that. We're gonna take care of that. But I feel the same way. I remember when I got my first paycheck.
Yep.
That's when they was handing out paychecks. You know what I'm saying? I had to actually take it to the bank in cash.
Yeah, remember those days.
94. So I was just looking like, wow.
Yes. First time I ever seen a comment in a check that I had my name on it.
Like, this is mine?
Yeah.
Like, this is all me?
And it's crazy because my dad was an engineer. And he was the one that said, you know, you got hurt. Basketball may not be your meal ticket. You might want to go to the police department, right? So I go to the police department. He says before I get the job, said, look, you can stay in college for 3 more years, 2 more years. He said, but I guarantee you're not going to start off making what this police department about to give you. So you figure in 1992, I started out making $38,900.
That's beautiful.
At 21 years old.
Look at that.
Yeah. At 21 years old.
Yep.
I was like,
It's funny because before you got here, we was watching the Uncensored, and it was Shaq on. And he said when he got his first check, he spent the whole thing.
He said the one day.
I did the same thing when I got mine. So like you said, it felt like it was the draft.
Yo,
I got my first check. I cashed it. It was gone. I bought some gear, some sneaks. I think I put some rims on the truck. Like, it was gone.
I got some gear.
Like, I was like, hey, I get another one in 2 weeks. I'm good.
Guaranteed. Long as I show up, something's going to come in.
Another one. That's what's up. Now,
let's talk about the union thing.
yes, the president.
So what?
The president. We have the president.
Dr.
Keith Benson, the
president of
the Camden Education Association, here in the Birdcage, sitting on the couch.
Break that down for us. Break down exactly what CEA is and what do they do.
For those that don't know.
Yeah, so what we do is we represent the interests of the educators and the students and the community, and trying to do what we can do to provide the best education environment for everybody. You know, so sometimes that comes across, that rubs people the wrong way in the things that we say and the positions that we take. But ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure our public schools are here, they stay strong, and that they grow. And that's counter to a lot of what external politics want to see happen in our district. So that's the reason why we tend to make a lot of enemies, you know, in powerful positions, unfortunately.
Right.
You know, now anybody, Bird, you know me for a minute. Fighting and arguing with people is not necessarily, that's not what I'm about. You know what I mean?
No,
but
true.
when you find something that you care about that's worth it, you'll fight over something that you deem, you know, important enough. You know, and education here in this city is that important. That we'll fight for it. And
now,
we have been doing that.
When did you feel as though you wanted to run, or you know what I'm saying? Like I think I can make a difference. I think I need to try to.
Yes, someone asked Miss Carmen Cooper approached me the election year, I think in 2017, that there was an election coming up. Would I be interested in? And that was because the things I had been writing in like op-eds and things I've been saying at the board meeting. Now, as a city resident, as a black man, I was getting this doctorate. I view that there are certain responsibilities I have because there's certain access to information I have that maybe folks might just ignore if it just came from anybody else.
Right.
We could be saying the exact same thing.
Right.
And oftentimes we are saying the exact same thing, but it's just perceived different because I'm a teacher, I live in the city, and I work on a doctorate.
Right.
And so because of that, I was like, I'm going to write what I thought was right in the papers. I'm going to say what I think is right at board meetings. That she asked me, she approached me, would I be interested in running? And I did, and you know, and then asked the community, you know what I mean, to help. If you know some educators, ask them to cast a vote for me. And then I prayed over it, and then you know, the Lord, like, you know, he blessed me, you know, with this opportunity to fight for something that I deem to be really worth it. You know what I mean? So think about, you know, something that really, really matters to you, and you have the chance to actually fight for it. That's a rare opportunity. So I want to do right by that and do right by all, you know, by my residents, my city, my students, and just to do the best I can in the position I'm in.
True. And like it's like he's taking it back to when we, like I said, when we came through the city, when our administrators, our teachers, our board members, when they was here in the city with us. You know what I'm saying? As we were students, they was here. Like you said, you see them at Pathmark. You know what I'm saying? See, you know what I'm saying, Miss Cream, and you can see her out and about outside of school and things like that. And I think that's so super important. So this is throwback right there.
He's one of the few, though.
He's that's what that's what I'm saying. We need more of it. That's what I'm saying. Like we need to go back.
Let's
to
be
that.
clear.
You know what I'm saying? I think that would make it so much more. You know what I mean?
It actually would in a ideal society, but society has gotten away from what's
very much so.
idealistic,
Very much
right?
so. Like you keep saying, like
Because
all
like
these people from the outside coming in making decisions
like
for us.
growing up,
You know what I'm saying?
growing up, you had on your block, you had probably, right, we're going to start on Morton. We had police officer's father. We had a nurse. We still had some Caucasian people. We had an engineer. Then on his block, he had his dad, who's, of course, OEO. But in that block, that's what you had. So that's what the kids got to see, those type of people. And then, you know, in the the Whitman Park area where my Uncle Lenny lived, you had like police officers on every block. You had a nurse on every block. You had women that worked at the school. Like you had like a community. It was a community. And you really, you know, we would get out of line, but you knew somebody was going to call. Grandma was going to end up hearing about it because before you got from Whitman Park to Centerville, it was going to be like 4 calls made, and vice versa. Like you go this way, you're going to get the call. And that was community, and I think we've gotten away from community. I mean, we've gotten to the point where some of our administrators for our city don't even live in the city. You know, and it's just crazy because you control a narrative of people that you don't even have anything in common with.
You're right. Everything you're saying is right.
You know,
that's why it goes back to that representation. You know what I'm saying? Like
but it's about right representation too, because
no,
every skin folk ain't kinfolk.
That's facts.
You know, every skin folk ain't kinfolk.
That's
So
facts.
like that's
because you have some that look like us that's
ain't
external,
us.
right? They come from not where we from too. You know what I'm saying? So
and they've had a false narrative about the city, but they're coming into the city to work. You know, because you know why? So and I'm just going to take it from the point of a police officer. You come to Camden and you work 5 years, you go somewhere else, they're going to promote you, and it's like you've worked 10 years. You understand what I'm saying? That's the same thing with teaching. You come in and you on the ground and you go to your next gig and be like, oh, I worked in Camden for 3 years, or I'm tenured in Camden. Bing, through the roof, because they've, in this narrative they've created of who we are as a people. When you know, it's funny because I go places with my children, and I'm talking places out of the country, out of the state. I go places, and when they say, where you guys from? We're from Camden, New Jersey. Oh my God, you don't act like it. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm still trying to figure out what that actually means.
I remember when I first started, you know, my first 9 years, I taught in Camden, started in '94. And at that time, like you could get if you worked in a urban school setting, you could get your loans, your school loans deferred. Right. So I had some colleagues come in from outside the city and whatnot, and they was just there
to get same thing now, though. But that's what they teach for America.
And then bang, they gone.
But that's the same thing we teach for America. And then you had a bunch of guys that became cops because they had the cop next door program. You become a cop, same thing with the teachers. You become a cop, you can buy a property, you stay there for 5 years, you chirp out, now you own a property, you could be a slumlord, and you can move somewhere else. I mean, that's what people have done for years. You know, like I was told that I was like, you're hood. Why would you stay? Why would you're hood? And like I used to tell them, it's funny, because I went to parochial school. I lived in Franklin Township. I didn't even live in the city. My dad moved out the city when we were 7. So who's really hood? The guy that lives out Fairview, White Fairview, because that's where you lived at your whole life until you became a cop, or the sister that lived in Franklin Township, you don't even know where that's at. You understand what I'm saying? But it was so crazy because everybody assumed I was hood because I chose to come back, move in, and I lived around the corner from my uncle. It's a safe neighborhood. It's still a safe neighborhood. People laugh. They laugh because you cross the street into my block. What the fuck? We call it the suburbs. Killer zone up the street, but that's a little block.
That little block.
Everybody's grass is manicured, you know. But it ain't where you live, it's how you live. But it's just so crazy because people create this narrative.
I feel like especially a lot of folks in younger generations, like mine, like especially my generation, I'm really proud of the work a lot of us are doing. And not like I don't think they intended, I'm going to be this type of person in the community, but they recognized there was a need and they had a skill set. So like, for instance, like Reese with his DBU.
You have the reach. Use it to your advantage. Like this. They're your money maker. I'm gonna make money for you. You have to eat the dream.
Yes. That's back. What's his name? Antoine.
If you afraid, bro, it's not for y'all.
Taj. A lot of these folks are doing really great things, working with young people, setting the example that's tangible and it's close to them. So like it hits a little different than when you see somebody come in for like a weekend, do a clinic, and you don't see them again until next Saturday. But you see these people every single day, and they're accessible. You know what I mean? They're a text away. You know what I mean? And just and that sort of just cultivates like all these young folks are seeing somebody who cares about them. You know what I mean? As people and are investing in their development. And man, I can't wait to see what the city looks like, 2 decades from now.
And it's the crazy part about that is also too, because your generation knew what it was like, maybe not to be able, your parents maybe not be able to afford $1,000 a week.
Yep.
So now y'all coming in and y'all training, and y'all may be only charging $75 a week. Right. So now, as a young kid whose mom, I can afford that.
Yep.
But I can't afford to go out here to this gym and get him $600 a month. I can't.
Yep.
Or how I'm gonna get there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because it's even for me, who we have vehicles, right?
Yep.
And that's multiples of us. But with my grandbaby, certain programs I can't put her in because I get off from work this time. Her mom don't get time. How am I drive her all the way there? How are we going to get her there? So it's easier for me. And people say, oh, you're going to make time for what you want. Yeah, you are. But that sometimes you're not going to extend yourself all the time. You know what I mean? When I know it's people in my community that could do the same training. Y'all just need to start doing it. Let's just get it. You know what I mean? Let's just make it happen.
That's
So
definitely true. Shouts out to Reed. Shouts out to Antoine.
shouts out to Lance Fussell. Lance Fussel's doing
yeah,
baseball now.
Cool.
And he's doing the
my boy,
training
too.
on these
That's
little
my guy.
kids like nobody's business.
stuff
When
matters.
I tell you
It
our
does.
kids
It does.
are
It
going to
does.
start
It
knowing the
does.
ins and outs of baseball,
does.
I'm impressed. Like I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed because that's a sport we lack in our community. We lack.
Definitely.
I sent the picture. I was away. I sent the picture, and I said to Seth, "What's wrong with this picture?" And he said, "You tell me." Now I don't know if he said that to me because he didn't know what was wrong with the picture, or he threw it back at me and said I was going to say. So it was a softball team in an area that's kind of like we're there. Wasn't one person of representation on their whole team.
I knew it was wrong with it. You know what I'm
So
saying?
but I say that to say this: our girls are not getting enough feeder programs and training at a young age. So when we're in high school, we can play softball with everybody and get those scholarships. We miss out on those scholarships, which is another opportunity to get free education because we're not training them young enough.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So we don't have a softball team, a stellar softball team in our communities for our little girls so they can learn at 9, 10, 11 years old how to really play softball so when they're freshmen, they can come out because we're going to excel.
Right.
But to see that picture and where this school is black folks all around them. And can one person play softball?
Yeah.
Can one person make the team?
That was we need to start doing a better job as far as feeder systems with the non-traditional sports that we don't play. You know what I'm saying?
It's just mentoring all the way around. It's mentoring all the way around. So we need to get more mentors for education so y'all can start bringing in younger people to start understanding that being a teacher is important, right? And then we need to mentor younger people. Like it's just a whole, we need to just do a little bit more for us.
Now, since we talk about sports, let's talk about a little basketball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've had the pleasure of coaching with this guy. You know what I'm saying? I believe he caught me on the tail end of my playing days, but I think we played against each other a couple times. You know what I'm saying? I think we was on the court together a couple times. Had to put the icy hat on and all that.
So you said you graduated from high school in '98, right? 10 years after you.
Yeah, I know. But,
so you was definitely using icy hot.
I was coming out of Rutgers. You know what I'm saying?
You had the whole patch on and the cream.
I had to stretch 30 minutes before They just warming up over there, stretching, doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this. Brunson gone. You know what I'm saying? He left, took the assistant job with the Knicks. That kind of high situation. Are they going to be able to still have that national type of situation? Like I don't know who's coming in. You know what I'm saying?
I think I definitely think they're gonna be as good as they were, because ultimately, like, I believe that certainly coaches have a role, but ultimately it's the players who are on the court that put the ball in the hole, that make the foul shots, that close out.
Very true.
And they got a hell of a team. I mean, young guys. I don't think they lost very many, if they lost any at all.
Yeah,
but
what they graduated? 2, the one that actually like.
I think
or
it
was
was
it 2
two.
of them? 2 of them.
But
Two or
yeah,
three.
Obviously the core will be back, and I don't expect them to get worse.
Right,
so
right,
I think they'll be very, very good. But I was thinking about this the other day. The team that we was at Pennsauken, that was 04. That was a hell of a team. That was Al, Glenn,
That was
Marcus.
That was 03,
Chad.
04.
All right, rest in peace, Chad.
Rest in peace, Chad. Yeah.
And I remember that was a really, really good team. I remember they played Roman when they had Sharon. That place was packed.
Sharon and
Sloan
L. He was on that team. And they Pennsauken kids.
Yes,
so imagine if them two
yes.
would have stayed in Pennsauken with Al, Glenny, and all on.
Then that was a hell of a team, man.
Yeah, it was. Remember, we won Central Jersey.
Yep.
And we just
couldn't get over Lenape.
Shout out to Jason Thompson
and Ryan.
Ryan. What was the kid that went to Lehigh? Bentley.
Yeah. You remember? And Craig Peters, he went D1 too. They had 4 D1 players on that starting 5.
We lost to them 3 times.
Yep, in that same year. Yep.
Twice during the season.
Yep.
We won Central Jersey. They won South Jersey. Yep. So, the state semis, we got to play them. And lost again.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't beat them.
Nah. That was a great team,
They
man.
couldn't beat them. Yes, it was. And shout out to Dunn. Dunn, he still comes to my practices. He'll come out to my practice, look at things, give me his assessment.
Man, he got some plays, bro.
I still run a lot of his plays. I still got his playbook that I copy. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Coach Dunn.
Absolutely.
That was 03 when I first got to Pennsauken. My first coaching gig where I actually got paid to be a coach. I was like, wow, I get another check.
Al and Glenn were animals, though.
Yeah, they were.
Jeez.
They were. They definitely were. Should definitely shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Steve, matter of fact, he prints our merchandise.
Word?
Yeah. He got a printing company. Yeah, shout out to Steve.
Yeah,
got
man,
a printing company.
That's a beautiful thing.
So, you know what I'm saying?
That's fly.
He prints up our sweatshirts and the T-shirts. Yeah. Well, we're going to get the T-shirts and all that, but yeah.
And you coach at West Hampton?
You made 1 3-point shot so far? Get to the bucket. Let's go. Just bombing away these threes. Move the ball around, get the zone moving, attack, big ass. Then we have all options. You get to the bucket, drive your kick. Stop bombing away with these threes. Everybody got it. Got box out. Box out, play big, help each other out. All right?
So first time I was in 10th grade. I was playing varsity at Morristown Friends. The first time I see somebody get dunked on in a game, somebody from West Hampton Tech dunked on our point guard and won. I was like, whew. I was only 15. I ain't never seen nothing like it. It's like he stepped in his chest. It was like, boom. Because he tried to take a charge. But it was like, and one. I was like, we got aired out that game. But I was like, yo, it's another level. It's another level.
This will be my 8th season coming up. You
cool, man. Congratulations.
Shouts out to West. What we got here? Future plans?
2 years, I'll be back in the classroom. So either I can hire Woodrow Wilson. Okay. I'll be back somewhere in the city. I'll have, that'll be year 20 or 21. Okay. And after that, I have 9 years to rock out with these young folks, man. And I miss them. I miss the grind. I miss them. I miss their sense of humor. Now I miss really just just working with them. And anybody who teaches high school and doesn't enjoy that whole process, I don't understand, man, because these kids is funny as hell.
I agree.
They got a sense of humor, you know what I mean? And you're just dealing with people, man. And I had juniors and seniors, so I had the upper class, and I loved it, and I miss them. So in 2 years I'll be back, and hopefully we can get some good things done.
That's what's up. I agree, because it's people ask sometimes hey, 20, you know what I mean? What keeps you it's every day is just different.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with, first of all, younger kids.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? High school, I teach high school as well. It's just different every day.
Yeah.
They'll come in one day this way, the next day they come in different. The day after that they come in different. So it's always just something new. Every day it's just something new. And
it made me a better dad. Dealing with these kids made me a better father. So sometimes I think about, where am I have my daughter doing this type of stuff for me? You know what I mean? But I see the same things out of them, and I'm like, oh, she ain't so crazy. You know what I mean? So if I'm giving my students, you know, a lot of grace and forgiveness, I'm obligated to give my daughter the exact same.
Definitely.
So and then some days where she would have off, or the teacher's in service, she'd be in the school with me, and she seen me at work. You know what I mean? So that was beautiful all the way around, man. I owe Kansas City School District a lot. You know, and like I said, I always want to do right by them, and man, in this profession, man, it's a beautiful thing.
That's definitely what's up. I know you don't do a lot of social media, but let them know where they can find you.
On Twitter, Keith Eric Benson, and on Facebook, Keith Eric. That's it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, bro,
man, I
appreciate
y'all.
you. You already know how we are, you know what I'm saying? And I just appreciate what you do, what you continue to do, and listen, man, just keep doing it.
I mean, I appreciate that, man.
Just keep doing it. We need more, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny, it was good. I'm gonna try not to cry. Let me get a little sentimental real quick. But I did not know that, you know what I'm saying, what you said earlier.
It's a fact.
Like you saw me and Dunn and what we was doing with the education thing and that kind of
Sky Blue Expedition. Never forgot it. Never forgot it. For real, that stuff matters. You're 23 years old, man. You seeing somebody make teaching look cool.
I didn't know that.
Beard and everything, tattoos, like the inky ass, what's his name? Beard and
I did not pay him or nothing for this.
Nah. But it's a fact. But it's a fact. But he's Coach Bird, you know what I mean? And it's real.
And I definitely appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely appreciate that. And cousin, you know, there's no birdcage without you. You know what I'm saying? I definitely love you. You know what I'm saying? Again, just want to say Happy Father's Day. You know what I'm saying? I hope all the fathers out there enjoyed your day. And again, you know, we always got to thank the viewers.
Yeah.
Please continue to view, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because there is no, outside of Cousin Tracy, there's no BYRDCAGE show without the viewers. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
So here I go.
Yep, that's why you got to go.
First and foremost, just thank you to every father that shows up, even when the kids aren't yours. The ones that step in the gap. You know, my children have had, my older daughter has had a man in her life who stepped in at 17 and hasn't missed a day. And my daughter's 34. And thank you for those type of dads, the ones that show up when the other guys quit, right? Thank you, men who are fathers to children who don't have fathers, and you don't have children of your own. We have those out there. You know, my hat goes off to each and every one of you guys. And for those fathers that just learning how to be fathers on the fly, you didn't have no examples. God bless you. You know, hopefully us as women can support you guys more. You know, my hat goes off to all these fathers that show up, all the uncles that show up, all the godfathers that show up, you know, the grandpops that show up, just all the men that just show up for other people's children and children of your own. I appreciate you. Now, on that note, we're going to talk about self-care. I just came back from Cancun. So remember, in the spirit of mental health, always remember you can't pour into other people if you're empty. So always make sure you take time for yourself. If it's 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, whatever it may be, sit still, meditate, write your thoughts out, take time with yourself, get to know yourself and understand. Self-care is not selfish.
Y'all see the glow. Y'all see she just came off the beach somewhere. She's bronzed, she's glowing.
And I'm mad because I couldn't get a strong enough tan. Like, I was there for 3 days. Day 1 and 2, I'm like, where the hell is the sun? So then, like, they got the little, you know, the entertainment team. And they was like, Mommy, come on to the other side where the adults are. Go to the other side, but bling. I'm like, yo, I found the sun. So I'm laying out now and I'm sweating. I'm like, yes, I got it.
This is what I need.
That's all, and I only could get like yesterday's worth, but I got all of it. Look, face a little burnt, but I got every drop of it yesterday.
That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. Well, episode 57 in the books. Once again, I'm Sexuayo, a.k.a. Chris Bird. I'm the host of the BYRDCAGE Show. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
It was a stone groove, my man.